Hi, I'm Deb Steverson, and you're listening to Transformation Radio. In just a few moments, you'll have an opportunity to listen to me coach Peggy as part of our Cycle of Transformation coaching series. Peggy is late in her career. You'll hear that she's no longer necessarily looking to climb the career ladder, but she's still very interested in doing work that's engaging and where she feels relevant and like she's contributing in a way that really uses the best of what she has to offer. These are important considerations for all of us as we enter that stage of our career that's really the last stage. It may or may not be a time where we're continuing to move up and progress in our careers, but nonetheless, everyone wants to contribute in a way that's meaningful. So I hope you enjoy this session of Transformation Radio. Peggy, thanks for joining me this morning, and I wanted to start by having you share a little bit about the coaching priority that you've identified.
I am in the later part of my career, and I have reached a point where I'm no longer climbing a ladder, but I still want to be relevant in my role in the company that I'm in. And so I'm looking for some coaching in that area.
Great. Let's start by talking a bit about what relevance means to you.
I believe it means being useful to my coworkers. I'm in a support role, and so I want to continue to be useful and be able to change along with the direction that the company is changing. I'm in somewhat of a remote location, so being relevant to people not just in my office but also within the sales organization that I support in other locations.
If you think back to a time when you felt like you were the most relevant, and I'm going to even say maybe visible is another piece to this, is that right?
That's correct.
Okay, so if you think back to a time when you felt relevant and visible, describe for me what that felt like for you.
It was a very exciting time. It was a lot of work, a lot of hours, but there was a lot of activity. I had a lot of exposure to people in the company, not just necessarily within our particular location, but in other locations. And it helped to be able to reach out and build a network at the time, but I had a very full calendar, and I don't necessarily have a very full calendar right now. I was doing event planning, I was doing administrative support, I was managing an office, I was managing a person, just very full from the time I got into the office until I left. And again, our days were very long. And that's not the case anymore.
So it almost feels like, if I feed back a bit about what you're saying, that you're bored.
Yes.
Is that right?
I am.
Yeah.
And yet I like the company, so it's not like I want to leave. I just want to understand the best way to make myself. I don't know if noticed is the right word, but visible again.
Yeah, it's a piece of it is that you don't feel seen for what you have to offer.
Correct.
Right now.
And I feel underutilized.
Yeah.
By the people that I do support. They're very appreciative, but they don't utilize me as much as they could.
If you were to take a step back and think about, the talents and the skill set that you bring to this organization, tell me what you bring to the table.
I'm very organized. I'm very much a detail person. I handle, frankly, a lot of the detail. In supporting a sales organization, I handle a lot of the details that salespeople traditionally are not strong in. The smaller details, the paperwork, the organization, the event planning. that kind of thing. I also, because I've been with my company for over 14 years, I have this great knowledge base of
how
to get things done, who
Yeah.
to talk to. People call me constantly and say, I know you've been around forever. I need help finding this.
Yeah.
And if it's not something I can help them with, I know who to ask to help them with it. So that's kind of, that's the kind of stuff. Salespeople traditionally are not real patient.
Yes.
And so they like knowing that they have this point of contact that they can call and go, and very last minute, without much information, go, hey, can you take care of this? And I just get it done. And then kind of, I also, because I opened up the office, I'm also a strong office manager.
Right.
Understood the details of what it was that they needed to be successful in their roles, and the environment, the tools, that kind of thing. So that's what I bring.
And in terms of how you can recreate what you used to have, where there was a fuller calendar, a fuller sense really of that you were contributing in a big way. How optimistic are you?
I'm optimistic to a degree. Because I am constantly reaching out. I'm constantly reminding people, hey, I'm still here. I still do these things. Yes, even though my signature on my email says I support these 3 people, what it really means is I support these 3 people and their organization. And I frankly am not one who says no. I will always try and help someone. If they send me a message, doesn't matter if they're in my department or not, that kind of thing. So I'm optimistic. My only fear is I have previously gone to the extreme and made myself so available that it became overwhelming.
Right.
So I need to find that
happy balance.
Yeah.
There's almost a part of me that wonders how much of this has to do with role clarity. And I'm not so sure it's role clarity for you, but for the organization, role clarity around who is Peggy and what is she up to.
Right. Right. And I think because the people that I support don't see me on a daily basis, they're not quite sure what my role is. They know if they throw something at me, that I'll take care of it. They just don't know how much. I don't think they understand how much they can give me.
Yeah.
And so it's, I had a situation yesterday where I could see that one of my managers was having a difficult time making a customer connection and getting something organized. And I just said, would you like me to take this? This is what I do. I have these relationships with your customer. Oh yeah, I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah, that's great.
So
there's some way you've got to tell a different story in a different way.
Correct.
To be able to reignite this.
Correct.
Yeah. I also, just to clarify, I'm getting the sense that you're really dedicated and determined to do it at this company, just checking in on that, versus at some point if you can't get the level of engagement and activity that you want, have you thought about exploring another company?
I will at some point. I am fortunately extremely well compensated at the company that I'm at. And because of my age, if I was 10 years younger, I wouldn't even think twice. I probably would have left about 3 or 4 years ago and pursued something different. I'm at an age where to take a significant cut in pay, and it would probably be about 50% based on what I understand about other individuals, the marketplace. It would be about a 50% cut in pay, and at my age, I don't want to take that.
Yeah,
I'd
sense.
rather ride it to the end until I decide it's time for me to leave, or until they decide it's time for me to leave.
Got it. So it feels to me like as we start to move towards thinking in terms of action, that it's really about how do you create what you want here at this company.
Exactly.
Yeah? All right.
Exactly.
Okay, good.
Yes.
So let's brainstorm a little bit, if we could.
Okay.
All right. Thinking about how do you inform and educate? What are some ways to help the organization see, I'm here. I think that's what you said earlier. I'm here. I do this. I can help.
Yes.
What are some things you've tried already?
I engage my managers. If I don't hear from them for a while, understanding the whole sales pattern and timeline, that kind of thing, I understand that they're focused on those deals, and that's the most important thing to them. But if I don't hear from them for a while, or I see some things going on, I reach out to them. And I say, hey, I see that you're working on this. How can I help you with this? And I think maybe I need to do it more frequently. But again, sometimes I don't have that opportunity to see what they're working on. It's just,
because you are remote, it does make it tough.
It does, exactly. Yeah. And I've even had one of them say, hey, I know I keep telling you this, but I'm really going to make more use. My team is getting bigger. I really need your help. Hey, great. I'm here. I'm ready. Tell me what you want me to do. And then he gets so busy he forgets, and it's just kind of one of these, it's faster for me to do it myself. And it's like, how do I explain to you it's not faster for you to do it yourself? You need to utilize me.
I'm finding myself wondering, what about presentations to his team? Some sort of get on one of his team meetings and do here's some of the ways I can help.
That might be a great idea.
It could be a communication plan, a sort of strategy for you.
Right.
How many of these managers that have teams could you potentially help that you're not necessarily getting enough action from today?
There's 3 teams that I support, and they vary in size. So it's more like the team members utilize me almost more than the managers do.
And is that okay with you?
Oh, it's fine with me.
Again, it's not. What about your manager? How will your manager feel about if you do this sort of proactive outreach? Will your direct managers, I think there's 2 of them, right?
3.
There's 3 of them.
Yeah.
Would they support that?
I believe they would support that. I do. I believe they would support that. I'm having a more difficult time actually getting the managers to utilize me, and I would really like them to use me more, because then I feel like I can help their team members. So I'm wondering if maybe the better thing is to remind these managers. I don't have a conference call with them. Sit down, remind them. Here's how I can help you. I feel like you're not utilizing me. What is it that I can do for you?
So one possible action item for you could be some meeting with them to have a very transparent conversation around, here's some ways I can help, and I have capacity. I want to find some new avenues to work with you. So that could be one action item. And it sounds like one-on-one meetings might make sense.
Correct.
For each of the 3.
I agree.
Yeah. I'm wondering, you had mentioned earlier in the conversation that every now and then something will come up and you're like, oh, hey, this is what I do. I work with your customers on your behalf around this. So do you have maybe, a couple of different success stories where they have reached out that you can think of and you've been able to create value?
Yes.
Some real clear examples?
I do.
Yeah.
I do. And I think maybe if I use those and remind them, hey, remember how I helped you set up this meet. We had meetings on Monday. Again, our CEO was in town, and I helped facilitate three of the customer meetings. And because I have contacts within those companies, and I build relationships with admins from the other companies that help bring all these people together. So I think what I need to do is remind them that I have those contacts and that I can help them with this, and they can be focusing on something else while I'm coordinating this.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to communicate, is through the stories of ways that you've been able to provide assistance, and whether you do it verbally or whether you consider a monthly report out that you say, here's 3 examples of what happened. One, it's a way to educate around, here's what you can do when you find yourself in that situation. 2, it's a way for you to get more visibility. Some kind of a monthly, here's some highlights and lowlights of the things that we've done.
Okay.
What's your reaction to that as a part of your potential communication strategy?
I think that sounds like a great idea. I think unless I'm the one that initiates the, hey, here's what I did, they don't feel they need to ask, and it's just going to be, okay, I'm not even going to think about the fact that she's there. I think I'm going to have to do some very active promotion of what it is that I can do for them and what I've accomplished. And I think something monthly, regularly, because they do, their schedules are so intense, stuff goes out of their mind from week to week.
Yeah, they're not slowing down long enough to even ask themselves, where can I get support for this?
Correct.
They're just plowing forward. And so I really like what you said about active promotion. It feels like that's a piece of this for you, is, what is your strategy to actively promote yourself, right?
Correct.
So under that title of active promotion, there's several different options. One is one-on-one meetings to really create a different agreement with each of the 3 managers you support. I'm here, here's how I'd like to help, here's how I see it, how can we move in a different direction?
Correct. And keep it consistent.
Yeah.
I think it's going to take a while, but I think if I keep at it, like you say, on a monthly basis, it will become a more consistent pattern, and they will recognize, oh, that's right, I have this resource here.
Yeah. What I think is neat about doing some sort of a monthly report is that you may also be able to really leverage what happens with one manager and then communicate that to another manager, and then they'll see differently, oh, look at how he's using her. Wow, that might be a good idea. So those are a couple different ideas. What else comes to mind in terms of active promotion? Like what else could you do that would actively promote what you have to offer?
I think that maybe by having the local people, having some conversations with local people who I know work closely with my managers, and having them see what it is that I'm working on, and somehow I don't know quite how to put it, but maybe talking to them about other opportunities that they see, because they know what I can accomplish, and they may have contacts within the sales organization and know, and when because they travel and I don't. And so when they hear that there's, when they're talking to someone in their roles, and that person says, hey, it would be great, if I had some support, and they can go, hey, we've got someone in Denver who's more than happy to support you. I've actually done that previously. It's been a while, but I think that may be helpful as well.
That's great. So how many of those folks would there be that you'd need to do one-on-one meetings with?
There's about 3.
Oh, that's not too bad.
No.
Yeah. So
no.
That seems like a pretty quick fix. And what's the main message you want each of them to hear?
I want the main. I do not want them to hear that I'm bored. What I want them to hear is that I recognize that I'm being underutilized, and I am open to taking on more responsibility. And it doesn't necessarily have to be locally. It can be anywhere within the the sales organization for the United States. And if they come across an opportunity that they think would be in line with what I can provide assistance, that they'd be open to speaking to that with
suggesting someone consider you as
yes.
That's
yes.
great. I find myself wondering, how are you going to manage the flow of this if all of a sudden people do start coming to you? How do you ensure that you don't get overwhelmed?
I've gotten better at learning to say no.
That's good.
Or to the other piece is a time management piece, and just recognizing, okay, where is the priority here, and just managing the different responsibilities, and at some point saying, I would love to help you with that. This is what I have on my plate. If you're willing to wait, I might be able to help you within this period of time. But today, this is not going to happen.
Good. So you feel pretty comfortable that you can articulate no or renegotiate timelines.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
Good.
I would say in my younger years, I felt I had to take on everything.
Right.
I wasn't allowed to say no.
Yeah.
With time and experience, I've recognized it's not doing anybody any good if I become overwhelmed and I take on more than what I'm capable of accomplishing.
Good. So really, right now, you've got to put together almost a plan that's going to help you actively promote yourself. And would you see that as the first step, or what?
Yeah,
where do you go from here?
I think the plan is to actively promote myself. I just am going to have to work harder at it than I used to have to. Just again because I don't have the day-to-day exposure. But I think that self-promotion is the only way that I'm going to be able to remind people of what I'm capable of accomplishing and how I can help them. And as you said, providing some examples in ways that I have helped the people that I'm currently supporting.
Yeah. How quickly are you willing to put that plan together and start having for example, the one-on-one meetings?
Within this next month. Yeah.
Good. So at this point, you'll develop your plan. It's going to include, it sounds like, just to clarify, one meetings with the 3 managers and also with the 3 folks you can network with as really allies for you.
Correct.
To go out and tell the story. So you've got 6 meetings and sorting through how you're going to do the monthly communication.
Right.
Did I get that right?
Yes, that's
okay.
correct.
All right.
That's correct.
And this is the end of February, technically. So by the end of March, you'll be at it.
Yes,
all right.
I will.
Awesome. Thanks so much for sharing. I think it's an interesting time for folks when they're in that last stage of career and wanting so much to be able to use valuable talents that they have to share and stay viable and stay relevant and engaged in the work. And I love that you're stepping into that of your own accord, not just sort of setting back, but saying, I want to do more. I think it's a real tribute to you, and your company's lucky to have you.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate the guidance and the suggestions for things that I can do.
Yeah, you bet. Good luck.
Thank you very much.